everybody, welcome to Zoe's Treasures. Good morning, my name's Tracy, and I am here with my husband, kind of here. I'm still in Dallas, y'all. Good morning, Josie. I have to apologize right from the get-go. Hello, Southern Charm. Good morning, everybody. Mama. If I am looking down, please accept my apologies today. I have the setup here is not that great. So Tober, hello, good morning. So I am looking down to read your comments. Swamp Chick Boutique and Melly. Why do I slaughter your name? This is not the first time I do this. Melson Marie. Good morning. Whether I'm saying it correctly or not. Melissa Marie. My husband's like mouthing the words to me. I'm so sorry. Good morning. It's still early for you guys. Well, for most of you, I don't know. Those of you on the East Coast, it's 7:15. It's 6:15 here. I've been up for an hour. I just got my coffee. I've had one sip of coffee already. So, all right, we've got something to talk about today that I think is a little bit different. We're going to do our normal housekeeping before then. You guys, if you have not bought your Pennsylvania meetup ticket yet, if you want to come to our meetup, please do so. Tickets are going fast. They are in the bin. I'm going to pin them really, really quick here. So this is for the Pennsylvania meetup. You're going to hear me talk about this every single show for the next month. But it is October 3rd. It is 9 to 3 o'clock. It's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. If you're interested in coming, we would love to have you there. Buyers and sellers. You need a ticket. The ticket gets you a continental breakfast and a lunch, morning of workshops, educational type stuff, a ton of networking, and you get to meet a lot of cool people because we've already I see that. Got a lot of tickets sold, and I can't wait. There's just so many awesome people already signed up to come. Where are you today? I am in Dallas today. So I am back in Dallas, the same hotel I was last month. These next 2 weeks are huge. So I have Dallas this week. I'm home on Friday, and then Sunday we leave and we go to Orlando, all for work. None of it's for fun. So I'm here, but we don't really do that much. I don't want to say do much fun. It is all work. So that's what I'm doing. But talked about the PA meetup. The next thing I want to talk about really quick, if you guys like Glass That Glows, don't miss our show. We do it once a month. It is on Saturday at 8 a.m. It is a full glowy glass show. We're going to do random polls. You're going to be surprised with what we have, but it's some pretty awesome stuff. We've been sourcing for a month for this one, so don't miss that. And glowy glass show on Saturday. And then the other thing, Friday show. Friday is going to be really, really good. Friday's our business. We do business tax. I'm going to still be here in Dallas, but we're going to do it just same setup. And we're going to talk about increasing profit without adding hours. So how can you make more money without killing yourself? Thank you so much, Millicent. So that's going to be a good one. It is definitely that topic of increasing profits without adding hours is one that's always on my mind. So it's something as a business owner that I'm always striving for. And I'm sure many of you are like, yeah, I would like more money without working extra hard or harder than we already work. Because I know all of us are like busting our butts every day. Good morning. So you guys, I got to pop this chat out, make it bigger because I'm like, whoa, I can't see anything. Raise your prices. Yeah, raise your prices. Ironically, raising your prices doesn't always get you more money, surprisingly. Regardless of what other people may say, dollar starts do work for some, not for all, but dollar starts do work. I am very curious. I've noticed you doing more random listings, data collection, or decision based on data. Liz, thank you for asking. Very insightful question there. It is more data collection. Hold on really quick before I do that. Good morning, The Bird Theory. It is good to see your name here also. So the reason I'm doing more random listings, it's kind of twofold. One, part of it's data collection. So I used to do kind of random, a mix, and then I went to pre-listing for quite a while. And the minute I went to pre-listing, like right away, I saw an instant increase in my average order value. So of course, in my head, I linked it to, oh, I pre-listed, my average order value went up. That's what must be the reason. So I continued to pre-list. And while I did the CSV file, it still takes time. CSV is a game changer. You can upload way faster. You can get stuff done for pre-listing. But the problem that I found is it still takes time. And been really open about my plan. I have a certain goal by the end of the year, which means that I'm increasing the amount of stuff I sell per show. And I'm spreading out, I want to do 6 shows a week and I want to do mornings. I realized about myself that I can't do like 3, 4 hour shows. I don't have the energy. That's not where I'm at. Good morning, Erin. So in order for me to sell more, I have to do more shorter shows, which also fits into my schedule, doing more like 7 a.m. hour, 2 hour long shows, and that's it. So, and I know this is a long answer to ask your long answer to your question, but in order to reach my goals and to do that show schedule and sell the number of items, I was starting to find it difficult to pre-list, because when I'm doing shows right now, I'm 5 days a week. To pre-list, to pack, to have time to do other things was starting to become very difficult. Jeremy at Green 13 told me this months ago when we were talking about this concept and this idea and some of my plans. And he's like, Tracy, he goes, the more shows you do, if you start going on every day, you're going to find yourself, you have less and less time. You will not be pre-listing as much. You will go to random pulls. I'm like, no, I'll still pre-list some shows. Good morning, Lori. Swamp Chick, doing that much in listing is not the best mix, and I'm finding it. Lo and behold, Jeremy was right. He told me that I would burn out with it, and I didn't necessarily burn out, but I'm running out of time, and there's other things I want to accomplish. And I was finding that I was pre-listing and shipping, and I wasn't having time to accomplish the other things that I needed to accomplish. So now I'm gone back to random. Now, am I going to stay with random listings? I'm curious, because like I said, when I went to pre-listing, my average order value went up. So I'm kind of playing with it. So far, so good. I haven't seen a decline in my average order value. So that makes me question, was that the direct correlation? Was that the only reason that the average order went up? Or can I maintain it while I'm random listing? So some of it's data collection. Some of it's as a result of trying to increase the amount I'm selling and it almost being impossible to pre-list. I wouldn't consider myself a volume seller by any means. But I mean, my goal is to get upwards of about 350 packages a week. I'm at about 150, 175 a week right now. So that's still a large amount to process and have to take pictures for. So, that was your experience when you started doing one day. Yeah. So it's just, part of it's time, part of it is data. Now, if I see my average order value drop, then I'm defeating the purpose. Then I'm doing 5 shows a week. I'm adding more work to myself without increasing my profits. Then I'm going to have to rethink this and maybe pull back and try a different approach. But that's really what business is. You try something, you give it some time, you give it a month or two, see how it works. So far, I love the idea of random listing. I talked about this in the last couple of shows. I love the feeling when you pre-list and you wake up in the morning before a show and you're like, wow, I've got pre-bids. People are already interested in my items. That feels really good. It's like an ego boost before going into your show. I do miss that side of it, but I have to be realistic with time. Doing random listings, how do you do your weights? How do I know my rates are right? That scares me with random. And the margin of profit would need to match it. Exactly, Liz, 100%. So how do I do mine? Right now, before August 1st, I list everything at 8 to 11 ounces unless it's obviously less than that. If it's a piece of ephemera, it's not going to be 8 to 11 ounces. So if it's less, I put it as less. I do 8 to 11 ounces. I do $4.50 shipping, except for Tuesdays, which I'm going to free shipping. And then on the back end, when I'm shipping, I adjust the box size to the appropriate size that the box is, and I adjust the weight, and I pay any difference on the back side. That makes it really fast and easy, where I can have one listing, I can just hit run next, and it covers most of my items. It also, with $4.50 shipping, means that when a customer buys that very first item, they're paying, that's it. It's one and then free. So they buy one item, they get over that shipping hump, and then they see free shipping, because at that point I'm paying all the rest of it for them. So it's kind of twofold. The weight, if I had it at a pound, customers would have to pay shipping on the first 2 items versus the first 1. So it helps twofold. 1, for me to be able to go fast, and then 2, for the customer to see free shipping faster, thus encouraging more sales. Shipping is changing August 1st. If I said September, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's August 1st. If I said September, I messed up. Um, so come August 1st, I may not be setting my settings up like that. We will see. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error. I have been running projections on my spreadsheets to see, okay, based on this show, if I kept it the same and with the new shipping charges, what would that look like? So my plan is to keep my shipping settings the exact same way for the first couple of shows in August, look at the numbers, and then decide if I need to change the way I'm setting it up or not. Someone asked me why I was no longer focused on reaching your 1K. I talked in circles. Because your goal, Josie, great. I love that question, because people will ask you, they think that their goals or their measures of success applies to everybody. It's common. We get focused as individuals on something, so we think everybody else is focused on the same things. Answer it honestly. Why aren't you focused on your 1K? If you're focused on your average order value, or you're focused on just practicing how to run a good show, answer them honestly. Just say, you know what? That's not my goal. It's not my goal.
That's true, because Liz said so. That's the only thing, because Liz said so.
A Monster Mama says, I'm bummed. I just started using flat rate and it's going away. Oh, well, I agree. I think everybody's a little bummed out. Flat rate was a great deal, particularly for those categories that like sold smaller things. You can sell a whole lot of small things and fit it into one flat rate box. For vintage, at least for my vintage, I would use flat rate whenever possible. And I started to focus on trying to use it more and more solely for the purpose of, I am going to fit things in the free boxes as much as I possibly can because the boxes were free. I'm saving myself $1 every time I use a flat rate or a priority mail box. So when I'm shipping, my first thought is, will it fit into one of these free boxes? If not, then I go to the boxes I buy. But the boxes I pay for are always secondary to me. Those are I want to stretch those out as long as possible. So I'm sad for that point of view. But not necessarily because of the flat rate. I didn't use it as much as I used regular priority boxes. It's business though. We are gaining $2 a box. Those of us who primarily ship between 1 and 5 pounds are saving $2 a shipment. That is huge. And that will cover the cost of having to buy boxes. I love flat rates simply for the control of shipping cost. 100%. Particularly if you're selling those things that you can do up to the 70 pounds. I don't know how many people actually sold up to 70 pounds in a flat rate. I'm like, what can you fit besides like maybe some type of metal that was really heavy? Even a flat rate full of jewelry or minis or clothes probably wasn't 70 pounds, but it was still very valuable for those sellers that utilize that. While it's valuable, think about like this. That's a door closing. When a door closes, another one opens somewhere. We may not see it right now, but I can guarantee you 6 months from now, we will look back and we will say, oh, I see what Whatnot was doing with that. That's pretty cool. Okay, you closed that door, but you opened this one over here for us. So we do know there is something. They've been promising us other shipping methods. We know something else is coming. We just don't know when. So, Noelle put a givey up there, you guys. It is a CEO affirmation card. I do not have any to show you today, but we do show them on every show. It is accurately described in the description there. I'm going to miss medium flat rate boxes above that. Yeah, usually 12 by 12. My most common box, and this is, I'm sure you guys are already doing this. You are all smart people. I would encourage you to start making a list of what are the common size boxes. If you normally use a regular, like a large priority mail, not flat rate, but the large priority boxes, those are 12 by 12 by 10 approximately. Start noticing this and write it down so you know what size boxes. So for me, it's 14 by 12 by 10. And then that large priority mail 12 by 12 by 10 are the two ones that I would probably use more so than any other boxes. So now I know what to buy, and just go to all the sites. Go look at Amazon, Boxery, Uline, U-Pack and Ship. There's so many ASINs, all those, and check prices. So what will I don't know, Josie. I do not know what my settings will be yet. I'm going to keep them the same. I'm going to do a couple of shows and see what the data says. As a cap with new. Okay, hold on. Robin's asking, will it Will it still? Yes, it is. The 12 by 12 by 12.
Welcome in, Raiders. Grab your
We
hats
got a
and step
raid.
into Zoe's treasures, where the relics aren't cursed. They are for sale.
Thank you so much for the raid. It is not showing on my screen. Who raided? It is not showing at all. So thank you very much. I'm sorry. Say that again, my love. I cannot hear you. Okay, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you bringing your friends over here. Please put in the chat who you are, what you sell, when you sell it, all those great details so that we can follow, bookmark and follow you if we like what we see. And y'all who came over, please, y'all, I'm done. I'm gone. I can't talk this morning whatsoever. This is Zoe's Treasures. My name's Tracy. We are doing a chat and sell. I am all thrown off my game. I'm running from a hotel, you guys, and I'm just utterly curated. Thank you so much. It never showed up on my screen. When I'm at a hotel, we run remotely. So I have my husband on my phone up here and I have my computer here. I'm listening to instructions from him because he's modding for me. So he talks to me throughout the show. I can't barely hear him. So he said the name like 4 times and I can't make it out what he's saying. So that is totally on me. Today's just it's not my day, y'all. That's just it. Will you please list the supply companies again? Okay, sure. And the supply companies are not an exhaustive list. These are just ones off the top of my head, you guys. So Shalom, there is WB Mason. There's the Boxery, which happens to be my favorite, just personal preference. Not saying they're the best by any means, but the Boxery, Uline, Pack and Ship, Amazon, obviously. Those are some that are out there. If anybody else has favorites, put your favorites in there. Share with each other and let us know where you shop. For my research, so I did go and look at box prices. I've been a fan of the Boxery for quite a while. I think the quality is good and the price is realistic. I compared the Boxery to a couple of other places and I'm going to stick with them. Even though they charge shipping, I buy big quantities. Where can you get free boxes? Josie. We'll talk about free boxes in a second. And I'll talk about bubble wrap. Even though you have to pay shipping on the Boxery, and once I calculate in shipping for the quantities I buy, if you're buying in bulk, it makes sense. They're still less expensive to me than the other ones. But that could also be where I'm located versus where they're located. So just because it's good for me, maybe shipping to you may be more expensive and then it's not realistic for you. So that's why I say you've got to go and kind of do all that research and figure it out what works best for you. U-Haul. So there's a lot of suggestions in the chat. Make a list, go through and start comparing prices. Pick pick 25 12 by 12 by 12 boxes, use it as a standard and compare it across the board. And that's the easiest way to do it to try to get an idea. Good morning, the polish picker. Okay, bubble vendors. Josie, I'll get back to your question about free boxes. Bubble vendors I buy all my bubble wrap. So the tiny little bubble wrap that you actually wrap your items in, I buy all of that at Sam's Club. Beans Vintage Dreams. Congratulations, you got Thanksgiving. Thank you for being here. I find it the cheapest for me, that bubble wrap that goes around my items, to get it at Sam's. I pay about $15 for 240 square feet. It works great. Larger size bubbles that you use for packing voids and boxes, I have a bubble making machine. I have 2 of them, and that works. That's what I choose to do. Sam's Club for me, though, has been the best. Now, I've heard, what's the other one? I want to say it's Uline. Our WB Mason keeps being told to me that it's a good bubble wrap. You can get larger rolls. However, when I looked at their reviews, the reviews weren't really good on the bubble wrap. If you're going to pay for 12 by 12 equivalent boxes, I highly recommend getting, I love that, 16 by 10 by 10. So that would calculate out to the same dimensional weight, a 16 by 10 by 10 as a 12 by 12. And it fits a little bit more. You get that longer size. I'm writing that down, Liz. That's a good suggestion. And that would probably work good too if you're selling platters or sometimes just those things that are a tad bit long. American Bubble Boy, I've heard of them. That's another good one to check out. Any thoughts on the cardboard shredder to wrap items while restocking? I cannot give you, Ren found it. I can't give you opinions on a cardboard shredder because I don't have one. I'm a little jealous of I Love Discounts. They have one. They love it. I would definitely, they do a ship show on Monday nights. Suggest you go into I Love Discounts ship show on Monday nights. They'll probably show it to you. They'll talk about it. But I know that they have used a cardboard shredder very frequently. They call it the cardboard muncher, but it's a huge machine. Um, I think they really loved it. I don't have experience with one. I know I've received packages from them where they've used that type of packing and nothing's been broken. Like it protects stuff very well. Oh, not finding the hole on my coffee. Okay. Supply House is another one. I'm going to answer Josie's question because I don't want to ignore Josie. She asked about free boxes. If a couple of you may have already heard my rant on free boxes. I'm about to go for it. There is nothing wrong with free boxes. If they come into my house and they're usable, I reuse boxes. Just one thing to keep in mind. This is your business. How do you want your business portrayed? That's part of your customer service, how you pack, how you ship, and then how it gets received on their end. So every time you're sending an Amazon box, it says Amazon on the outside. Are you okay with that? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Like I said, I will reuse boxes if they're in good enough shape for my business. But that is a consideration. Some people are like, you know what? Only my branding or no branding at all. I'll put my sticker on it, whatever it is. So you have to decide what works best for you in that. As far as free boxes, I'm going to break a lot of hearts here with my opinion, or at least maybe make some enemies, not trying to intentionally. You have to consider the use of your time. What is the best and most efficient use of your time? You can spend 2 hours going out and picking up boxes, or you can spend 2 hours doing a show and making enough money to buy boxes. And that's going to look very different for each and every one of us. For me, I live in the country. I live not close to many stores. I do have a Dollar General close to me. Other than that, everything is a good 30-minute drive. So that's an hour round trip, not to mention the times going and asking and collecting. When I look at that time, it's not worth it to me. For me, it works better to run a show, make the money, and buy my boxes. If you're just starting out and you're like, I have zero money, I am scraping by, then maybe the most efficient use of your time in that situation is to go and get free boxes for a little while. While I prefer that like I said, I don't prefer that method. I don't think it's the best choice. I know that my thoughts and the way I choose to do things don't necessarily fit for everybody else. So you have to figure out if that is the best and most efficient use of your time. So I'm trying to be very, very accepting and I know I have very strong opinions. I'm going to admit it. I am very opinionated. I am going to come on here. I'm going to tell you, here's the pros, here's the cons, here's what I think. But as I've listened to more people talk about free boxes, I do understand that we're all at different places in our businesses. And sometimes it does make sense for people to do that. Took me 2 years to realize I needed to hire a housekeeper because I was yep. Hey, look, I suffer from superwoman syndrome too. I think I can do it all, and I can't. I can do a little bit of everything, and I can pick and choose where I'm going to spend my time at. Do I use a number system for sold items? We do not. We actually use a system that's similar to Notbot, and I hate even bringing them up because I don't want to discourage people from them. Everything I've heard about Notbot is wonderful. However, I am blessed with a husband who is super techie, and he was able to write a file extension that, I don't know, tags onto the computer somehow. He'll tell you about it. So we use a system similar to that.
The way it works is it's a little program that runs on a computer when you have your show, and what it does is it monitors the auctions. Once an auction is finished, and you have the person who finally won the item, then what it does is it prints the username of the person who won, the description of the item, and the date of the transaction. and that goes into a 2 by 1 inch label that is then affixed to the item.
Yep.
But it only
So
monitors auctions. It doesn't monitor bin sales or giveaways.
yeah. And if you go to, so that's what he created. If you go to Notbot, he'll give that to you for free. If you're interested, just message him. He puts a file in a Dropbox and then you just download it. If you go to Notbot, I think their program, theirs is like an actual like program that they built, and it probably does a little more than that. There is a subscription price for theirs, but I think what you're paying for, you're getting more for that money than just what we do. So if you're interested, message him. He'll send you the instructions. It's not something we sell. It's not something that we like are doing tech service. So it's not like a product for us. It's something he built for us and we're just sharing. Whereas Notbot is an actual product. They have customer service. They have tech support. So you're getting what you pay for when you go there. So it's different. I was so impressed by the labels on my, so Cynthia's Attic, those are the labels. So real quick, I'll run through, and everybody should have a system. You should all, whether you're a one-man show or you have a team with you, you should have that system from selling to shipping, and how that works, like a system set up with checks and balances where you have ways to prevent errors from happening. And that will change as something happens, as an order gets mixed up or something breaks in shipping, then you go back and you reevaluate your system. I've talked about my system a bit. We've recently just changed it because there was a mess up in our shipping. So we print those labels. Even when we were doing our pre-listing, we would still print those labels. And we stick it to the item. My daughter is our shipper. She comes in, she grabs the item, she'll bubble wrap it. She takes that sticker and sticks it on the outside of the bubble wrap. And then we have a whole cubby system where she will separate all the orders by person's name. So she puts a little sticker and she might put what Liz likes, and anything Liz would buy, she would stick in that cubby. Or anything Southern Charm would buy would go into the Southern Charm cubby. Then I come behind her and I pull up the orders on the iPad at our shipping station, and I will say, okay, there's what Liz likes. And I'll go to Liz's cubby. I pull out what she purchased, and then I match it. Let me step back. Before I do that, we do print packing list. So I will have Liz's packing list. So I pull all the orders out and I look, okay, she got this item, this item, this item. I make sure I have those packages. I check it all off, box it up, and ship it. So that's the system we use. It works well for us. We were not using the packing list. I was just matching to our computer screen. And then a salt and pepper shakers went missing. I have no idea where they went. So now we implemented pulling the packing list as a extra security measure where I physically put check marks on the label and the packing list as I look at both items. So even if you're one person, you can implement steps to prevent errors. Gnomes, it's the gnomes, yes. Y'all, for the life of me, I have no idea where the salt and pepper shaker went. It was a set, it was a salt and pepper and had a little stand. The stand got to the customer. I have yet to find out where the salt and pepper went. That is very unusual. But we've had to change because my daughter, I just hired her recently in the last couple of months. Before that, I did all the shipping. So when I was doing it all, it was very different. All the items would be on a bookcase or wherever I put them after I sold them. And I would say, I would look at somebody's order and say, okay, they bought this. And I would physically go and pick that stuff off the shelf. And I had control over it. It was very different. I had to rethink that when I had somebody else now working with me. We can print packing lists, but yes, you can. I just learned how to do this. Who told me this? It was either I Love Discounts or Green 13 told me. I just learned how to do this almost 3 years on the app. You're always learning something. I will happily explain EIN and LLC. So let me just make a note of that. If you go to your shipping screen on your computer, look, you guys, I can't tell you on the phone. I don't use the phone. I use a computer. Go to your computer. You have the shipping screen, and don't click on any orders. Before you're clicking on anybody's order, at the top right, it says open sidebar. If you click on that open sidebar, it's going to give you your sidebar menu. And then there's a button that says print packing list or create packing list. If you click that, it allows you then, there's like another pop-up to export just your packing list. And it'll do them all for that show that you have open right then. I didn't know you can do this. I love it. I started printing shipping labels before generating the label and checking off. Oh, hold on, the polish picker. Checking how, hold on, wait. I started printing you must be saying printing packing lists, not shipping labels. I'm going to read that as you print your packing list before picking the order and checking it off. Okay, cool. I'm like, wait a minute, don't do that. But then I kind of know you a bit. I'm like, no, she's not doing that. Packing list, yes. I print the list, the order too. But that is if you pack it. Yeah, I only pack one order. I mean, my daughter, we have them all there wrapped, but I only pack one order at a time. Okay, I had a question. Can you explain the really Southern Charm? Yes, I just learned this. I see Southern Charm. I need you to come and teach me things. You're techie too. You're like Noelle. You know all the little tips and tricks. Okay, EIN and LLC. If you don't know what those are, I'm going to give you a really quick explanation. Explain the reason for an EIN and an LLC. An EIN is an employer identification number. It's like having a social security number for your business. It is not necessary in most cases. It does become necessary if you want to hire employees. So if you're paying somebody and you need to issue a 1099 if they're a contractor or a W-2 as an employee, you don't want your social security number on there. So you need to get an EIN to put on there. If you're opening business bank accounts in a business name, banks may require EIN. If you are going to create another legal entity, such as an LLC, you need an EIN then because that entity needs its own social security number or employer identification number. So they're not the same. Social security and EIN are not the same, but they act as the same. It is a number for a business. So that's why you would need an EIN. Most of us, if you're a sole proprietor, you fill out a Schedule C, you're not incorporated as any form of a business, you don't have employees, you really don't need an EIN. There really isn't a reason to get one. But if you did get one, it doesn't hurt you. It's just another number you have to keep track of. There's nothing bad about it. Does having an EIN keep you from paying taxes? No. So Savannah Banana, that is actually a sales tax exemption. That's through the state. EIN is federal. It's through the IRS. It's a federal number, where a sales tax exemption is through your state. So you would need to go to your state's website and apply for that. Two totally different things. We are running a DBA under an LLC. Should we separate, or do you think it's okay? No, you can run a DBA under an LLC any day. That's fine. So DBA, if you guys aren't familiar with that terminology, it's doing business as, so it's using a different name than the name of the business itself. So let me see if there's any other questions. There is. I didn't finish answering the LLC side. So an LLC is a limited liability corporation, or you can also see an LLP, limited liability partnership. It is a separate legal entity that you create. It's like giving birth. You got a whole nother child there, right? Same thing. Now you got a whole nother separate legal entity. There's reasons to have it, reasons not to have it. Unfortunately, too many people jump into the LLC trap way too fast. They're like, oh, I'm in business, I need an LLC, because that's what we hear all around us. There are a lot of times that doesn't make sense to do it immediately. As you start to grow, as certain situations start to apply to your business, then it may make sense. If you have employees, if you have a lot of assets that you want to protect and separate from your personal and business assets, if you are doing something that is highly open to lawsuits, where you think you may get sued a lot, depending on the type of business you're doing, that may be a reason. So there's many different reasons. Those are kind of the top three. So before you do an LLC, I always suggest talk to a CPA, talk to a financial advisor and or an attorney, and they're going to ask you a ton of questions. They're really going to look at where you've been, where you're going, what your current situation is, and they're going to advise you if it's a good step or not. I think we need an EIN to get a business license. Sometimes you may need an EIN for a business license, 100%. Now, but business licenses aren't always necessary in every locality or every state. So that it, again, is location specific. Where I'm at, we're not required to have any sort of a business license to do what I'm doing. So there was no need for an EIN for that purposes. However, every state has different rules, and sometimes within the states, there's localities or townships, like New York City has specific rules that may be specific just to New York City, where you may need certain things. Now, I don't know about a business license. I'm just using that as an example. At what point do you know if you need an LLC for your whatnot business? So when you start looking at certain things happening, like I said, and again, I'm speaking in high generalities. Those are really individual things that you need to talk. You need to talk to your CPA and your attorney about. But if you're going to get a partner, if this is a big one, this is a big one that most people on Whatnot miss. If you're going into business with a partner, you and a mom, say anybody besides your spouse, somebody that is not filing a joint tax return with you, if you're in business with them, an LLC may be necessary right on the get-go just to equitably split profits and losses. So that's a reason why you may want one. If you start hiring employees, that may be a reason. If you're in a business that you're sued a lot, that may be a reason. If you have a lot of personal and business assets and you want to keep them separate, under separate umbrellas for legal purposes, that could be a reason. So there could be many different reasons that you may want to get one. It really just depends where you are in your business. If it's just you doing Whatnot and those things don't apply, in most cases, it's probably not necessary. All right, I got to keep, hold on. My husband's yelling at me. No, you do not need an LLC to claim expenses on your taxes. Your expenses on your taxes go on to Schedule C as a sole proprietor. There is no additional tax benefit. You get the same tax deductions as an LLC as you get as a sole proprietor. It's not like you get extra or more or anything different. You can do a DBA under an LLC. Yes, you can. Yep, you absolutely can. Is having a tax ID that much more beneficial if you're just a small single or two-person outfit? No, not Swamp Chick. No, it's not. Like having an EIN or that tax ID for your business, again, is not necessary unless there's something going on that involves your social security number besides your tax return. So like you're paying employees, you're paying contractors, and you got to give them tax forms. You don't want your social security on there. But when you're like, if you're in the situation like you're describing, most times you just don't need it. It's not necessary. I mean, you can get it if you want it, but you don't have to. Hold on, let me read this one quietly. This is a red chat, so let me not read it out loud. Okay, so is a question on paying estimated income taxes. I'm not going to say who wrote it because it's red chat, so I'm going to keep that private. But somebody asked about, I'm not quite making money yet. I'm still in the red. I'm trying to grow my business. Do I need to pay estimated taxes? To an S Corp, Woody, hold that thought. I will answer that question in just a second. Let me answer estimated taxes. So again, estimated taxes are one of those things that's going to be unique to everybody. Here is the general rule on estimated taxes. The IRS is a pay-as-you-go system. That means as you earn the money, they want their money. That's the way the IRS works. And this makes sense if you think about it. When you work for somebody else, when you're, and you get a paycheck, they take that, they take your federal withholding taxes, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare out of your paycheck. It's a pay-as-you-go. So as you earn it, your employer's paying it in. Well, when you're self-employed, guess what? Nobody's paying that in on a regular basis. That becomes your responsibility. So then we have to look at estimated taxes are calculated on your net profit. Do you owe taxes, federal income tax? The rule of thumb is if you this year have a tax liability that's $1,000 or greater than what you owed last year, you probably should be paying in estimated taxes. So that is a general rule of thumb. There's a couple different ways to calculate it. That is the easiest, most straightforward to look at and say, should I pay this? So let me keep reading here. To resell, no, you don't, Swamp Chick. You still don't. You don't need a, when you say tax ID, I read that as an EIN for resale here. You don't need it for reselling here. What are the qualifications to move your LLC to an S Corp? So we start getting into S Corp. If you guys aren't familiar with what an S Corp is, S is an election through the IRS. It's not a type of entity. It's an election you make with the IRS to be taxed in a certain manner. Basically makes it a pass-through. It means that your business isn't paying the taxes. The business gives you what they call a K-1 and you pay the taxes personally. So it saves you a little bit of money. We usually will start considering an S Corp, going from an LLC to an S Corp. Those considerations start to come up when you start making profits around 40 to 50,000 that you're going to be paying yourself. So when you start to get in that profit range where you're starting to pay yourself 40 to 50, maybe 60,000, we start looking at an S Corp, because then you're going to start to put yourself on a payroll. You're going to be paying you some taxes through there. It becomes more beneficial. You're going to save yourself self-employment tax that way. So it's usually once you get into the realm of being able to pay yourself around that range that we start talking about an S Corp. But it's not like a clear cut. It's not like there's this magic line or a magic number. Each individual entity has its own set of unique facts and circumstances. I'm giving you, again, very kind of general guidelines, like, hey, on a high level, how would I look at this? Everybody has to go to their CPA to get the specifics based on their facts and circumstances. Okay, we fell under the lawsuit protection example as we instruct CDL drivers, lawsuit possibility through the roof. Yeah, so there you go. Ren found it. So you created an LLC as a legal thing. So you probably met with somebody, they're like, hey, you have a lot of liability here. That is an absolute great reason to create an LLC if there's a lot of liability. But people use that all the time. In your case, it may be perfectly cool. Like, I don't know all your details, but it sounds like, hey, that's probably a smart idea. What we'll hear in general a lot is protect your personal assets. You need an LLC so that people don't go and sue you and take your house and your car and your paycheck. You hear that type of stuff all the time. Can you be sued? Yes. Are they going to take your house and stuff? Let's first of all, what are the odds of you getting sued? I'm selling vintage decor online. My risk is really, really, really low. If I were to be sued, on a rare instance, if it were to happen, I would have to deal with that as not having an LLC. It doesn't make sense for me where I'm at right now. Now, if we were to buy another building, I were to buy something and run my business out of a separate warehouse or an old building or something like that, now I have a whole nother asset. Now I have something that they may be like, makes it more, people can come in and slip and fall. I have more assets, so I'm more appealing to be sued. Sometimes you got to look at that too. If you want to sue somebody and you go to a lawyer, one of the first things a lawyer is going to do is they're going to look at, can we get any money out of this? You're not going to sue somebody who doesn't have anything, because what in the heck are you going to get, right? So think about that for yourself as you start to grow and gain more stuff, more assets, more things. Now maybe you're looking a little more appealing, right? Aaron. PBJ, do I have a list of expenses? Not the obvious ones we should be keeping track of. Not the obvious ones. List of expenses that aren't obvious. Everybody knows about home office. I'm trying to think of what's not obvious. That's a hard question for me because I kind of live in that world. So to me, all of it is like on top of my mind. So what you are not thinking about. Subscriptions. People miss subscriptions a lot. Yes. Do you want to say it? My husband's trying to talk to me here. Okay. So Vendu, your Spotify, expenses that you would take portions of. Cell phone would be a big one that you would take a portion of if you don't have a phone solely dedicated to business. Home office, we said that one. Mileage is a big obvious one. What does Val say? I don't want to make this business. Only want to sell my own things that I had to take after. I'm sorry. Val, if you're not selling with an intent to make money, if it's a hobby, you're going to hear this a lot too. And this is something this is another big one that's misunderstood. Is people say, oh, I'm just a hobby. Well, number one, if you are a hobby, you cannot claim your expenses on your tax return. Okay. All your boxes, your bubble wrap, all that stuff is not deductible on your tax return because this is a hobby. You're not a business. So that's kind of one thing. Also, you don't decide if you're a business or a hobby. Big surprise light bulb moment. That's not your decision. It is a decision made by the IRS. The IRS has a list of 9 items, and you go through those 9 items, and basically that determines if you're a business or a hobby. The meat and potatoes of those 9 items is your intent. If you come on here, you schedule show after show, you do a show, you analyze it, you change it up to make more money. If your intent is profit in any way, shape, or form, the IRS pretty much is going to look at that as a business. That kind of, in those 9, the list of 9 things from the IRS, profit motive is pretty much kind of the common denominator throughout those 9. So if you are literally just cleaning out a closet and you're like, I'm going to do 3 shows, I'm going to sell this stuff and never come back on here, you're fine. You just put that on your tax return as income, and you don't claim any deductions against it. You just don't get any expenses. A seller has said she takes deductions for her nail expenses because her hands need to be pretty to sell live. That's Cynthia. Y'all pretend explicit is on. That seller is full of shit. I'm going to say it straight out. Your nails are not deductible. I don't care who you are on whatnot. Your nails are not deductible. Your skincare routine is not deductible for your face. Your haircuts are not deductible. Your clothing is not deductible to do whatnot. Your business expenses have to be ordinary, necessary, and reasonable. Ordinary, necessary are the 2 key words. Your thoughts exactly. Thank you, Cynthia. Your nails are not ordinary and necessary to run an online, live selling auction type of business. They're just not. Now, could you do it? Could you put it on your tax return? Yeah, you could. If you get audited and get caught, you're going to take a $50, $60 nail expense and risking them digging into every single one of your other business expenses. The time and the trouble that's going to cause, that's on you. It's not really a deductible expense. Dang it, what about dentures? Nope, sorry. Well, that's personal medical, but not business. Subscriptions, printer subscriptions, ink, yep. Yeah, if you run from the home. Now, the electric, Back Porch Bargains, 100% electric, but you've got to only use the portion applicable to the home office. So if you have a 3,000 square foot home, you use 300 square feet for your home office, 10% of that, 300 of 3,000, is deductible. But when you're looking at home office, you have 2 different, good morning, JK. If you have, there's 2 different ways for your home office. There's actual expenses where you take your electric, water, if part of that home office uses water, any expenses applicable to that, and you use a percentage. Or there's simplified. Simplified says you get up to 300 square feet, so you can't go above that, and you get a certain set dollar for that 300 square feet, and that's it. You don't have to itemize everything. The IRS just says, here's your set dollar amount for your 300 square feet. My whole guest room, there you go. So you would take the square footage of your guest room. If it is, and when you're talking home office, primarily and exclusively used for your business. Those are the key words with the IRS when it comes to the home office. Yeah, mileage. What about giveaways? Giveaways are 100% a business expense. 100% they are deductible business expenses. The one thing you always hear too, that, hold on, we're reading a quote. I'm worried as much. My mom's whole house except furniture and my daughter have 2. Val, it just depends on your intent. Think about it like this. If you were going to go clean out your house and you had a garage sale, the IRS isn't going to consider your garage sale a business, right? Because you do 1, maybe 2 weekends of a garage sale. That's not a business. But if you set up a garage sale every single weekend, people know you have hours, they keep coming back to you. Your intent is to keep finding stuff in the house to sell. And now you've gone from, I just need to clear out a house, to I'm doing something on a regular basis with intent to make money. There isn't this clear cut. With the IRS, there's a ton of gray area. They give you rules, and then everybody tries to push the boundaries. So you got a bunch of gray area that you work within. So a lot of it's subjective. You may hear a different CPA give you advice as, You can push the limits. You can do it this way. It's because they're that gray area, and it depends where you sit on what side of this gray area of interpreting the rules. In my application, I am very conservative. I am going to be on the side of I am a rule follower. I want to do things in the safest, most secure way with the IRS. I just don't want to risk it. So anything I say is going to interpret those rules in a very strict, safe way. Yeah, see how it goes. Keep records, because it may, before you know it, here's what happens. A lot of us start and we think we're a hobby. We think, oh, we're just going to do this once or twice. 6 months down the road, we're like, oh, well, man, what happened to that? I'm a full-fledged business now. So keep records from the beginning. If you don't need those records, okay, great. If someone buys an item during the show and says, run it as a giveaway, it's a wash then, right? So, I hate when this happens. Honestly, first of all, I love the intent. I think the person is doing it from the kindness of their heart, and they are trying to just really be nice people, right? It comes from a good spot. But you've bought an item from me. I now have a shipping label for you, and that shipping, whatever was shown on there, is charged for you. Okay. You've paid that shipping on that item to ship to you, to that customer. So now when you tell me to give it away, I have to now pay the shipping to somebody else. I have to go and create a label to somebody else. So I have to go and do a giveaway, which giveaway seller pays shipping. So it's kind of like you've wasted the shipping costs that you paid, because now I still have to send you a receipt. But if I'm sending you a piece of paper and you just pay $9.21 shipping, that shipping cost doesn't apply to that giveaway. And when people do that, I know they're doing it to be nice, but it costs the seller more money. Don't do it. Yeah. So thank you, my love. I don't look good in orange. Yeah, me neither, Mama. Not my color. Thanks for what not being. I missed about the room you only use for what not being deductible. Honeysuckle. So that's the home office. Let's see who's going to get this really quick, and then I'll keep talking. Chris Marie, thank you for being here.
Congratulations.
You got that giveaway. For your home office, any place in your home that you use primarily and exclusively for your home office is deductible on your tax return. Now, how does the IRS look at that? If you run all of your shows off your dining room table, but then between shows, you clear the table off and that's where your family eats their meals, that's not deductible, because that's not primarily and exclusively used for your business. However, if you have a guest bedroom, you can still have a bed in there. Maybe you get guests once or twice a year that will come for a couple of days. But all the rest of that year, you're using that space primarily and exclusively for your business, then that whole room would be deductible. So think about it like that. Hopefully that helps kind of clarify it. You can have a corner of a room if you're not using the whole room, and then you just take the smaller square footage of the space that you're using. Let's see. Do we pay taxes on all inventory or just unsold inventory that rolls into next year? You do not pay taxes on your unsold inventory at all. You don't pay taxes on inventory, period. Inventory is actually a deductible expense. So the way your inventory works, and I'm glad you asked this, because this is a question that a lot of new people, they're like, inventory can get confusing on taxes. The basic way your inventory works, you have money in the bank, you have cash, right? You take that cash and you go buy inventory. You have just traded cash for inventory. They're assets. It's like having money in the bank or money on a shelf. That's what it is. There's no tax deductibility at that point. On the surface, I'll dig into it just a tad bit. Right then, there's no tax deductibility. Then you sell that inventory. When you sell it, you then create revenue, right? You get money for it. The cost of the inventory that you sold becomes an expense at that time. That's when it's deductible. So that is the normal course of accounting. Now, when it comes to your tax return, if you're considered a small business, 99% of us on Whatnot are, that's like you make under $5 million a year per IRS. Thank you for your purchases, y'all. Thank you. I'm so excited you guys are coming to the PA meetup. So if you're a small business, the IRS then allows you to say, hey, I don't want to just claim the expense when I sell it. I want to claim the expense of everything I bought this year for inventory. That's called the cash method on your Schedule C. You are allowed then to expense everything you bought. I highly, highly, highly caution people before you select that option to speak with their CPA and really understand the implications that can come and bite you in the butt the next couple of years. So think about it like this. You take all the expense, you buy $10,000 worth of inventory in 2026. So this year you're like, all in, I'm buying all this inventory, $10,000, okay? You go to do your taxes, come April of 2027, you go to do your 2026 taxes. You're like, I'm going to take the cash method. I'm going to write off all $10,000 of that inventory so that it reduces my income and I don't have to pay taxes on it. Okay? Tax deductible expense. Wonderful. Then in 2027, you're like, wow, I bought so much inventory. I'm going to slow down buying inventory and I'm just going to sell through this. So now you're making money. You go to do your next tax return. You just sold $10,000 worth of inventory that you can't take any expense from, but now you have 100% of the revenue you have to claim for it. So you're not appropriately, when you use the cash method, you're not appropriately matching up the expense and the revenue together, which is in most cases far more beneficial to you than it is doing the cash method. Now, there's times when the cash method makes sense. This is where you need a good CPA to help you do tax planning. JK Flips, does it matter how much money you make from this business in order to claim? Yes, if you make $400 or more, you must claim it. That is per the IRS. And the reason why it's 400, not 6, you're going to hear people say 6, it's not 600, it is 400. The reason why is that $400 is when you have to start to calculate self-employment tax. So if you make more than $400, you need to be doing that Schedule C and putting it on your tax return. Refound it, thank you so much. If I buy an item to use for a 3D scan and not sell it, is that materials expense? So you buy materials, you make like 3D printed stuff and you're buying your materials for it. Yes, that's part of your inventory. So you're kind of looking at, if you buy something, so you buy something to make a model, to use it as like an example to build your 3D from. That would be just like a business expense. I wouldn't put that as your inventory. That is a straight expense, like supplies, materials type expense. Yeah, so that would be a supplies, materials expense. But it's not inventory because you don't plan on selling it. But for the handmade people in the house, the tax rules don't change, but there is some different application, the way we think about them for handmade. So for those of us that buy stuff and resell, it's super clear. I go buy a vase, I resell a vase. That's my inventory. It's super easy. There's no question that I got the vase, right? For handmade, it's a little bit different. Your inventory, your cost of goods could be multiple various items. You can buy 10 different colors of paints, different canvases, different paint brushes. Well, your paintbrush would be a tool, not necessarily the cost of goods. But the materials, you can have a multitude of materials that go into making a product that you make. All of that materials goes into your cost of goods, but it's not just for that one item. Those materials, you have to think about, well, I buy a tube of paint, that's about, I use it maybe 10 times. So a tenth of that goes to this item, a tenth goes to the second item, and so forth. So while the rule is the same, how we apply it, the concept and how we think about it is a little bit different when it comes to inventory and cost of goods for handmade, which is questions I get a lot. I keep wanting to edit everything I write for a handmade category just to make it make sense for that. Even if you are not registered on Whatnot as a business, but as an individual, yeah. You don't have to be, you are a business. You yourself, as a sole proprietor, are that business. I represent Zoe's Treasures. So Zoe's Treasures is not a legal name. It's not out there. It is a name that I chose for Whatnot. What Whatnot looks at is the social security number you put in when you registered, when you signed up for Whatnot. That's who they're sending that tax form to. Yes, it is. Thank you for asking. We do put everything on YouTube. Well, mostly everything, but this one is on YouTube. So, vintage and handmade. Oh, okay. Yeah, the handmade category is a very unique category. A lot of the talk shows, mine included, are geared towards more reselling, buying and reselling. Where the handmade is just such a unique category in the way that they operate, the way you get to your 1K. Again, the principle is the same, but the application is slightly different for handmade in a lot of things. I do bulk buys of clothing, and when I sort it, I sometimes end up with quite a bit that I donate. Trash it is. How do you account for that? Um, PBJ, I love this question because there is no charitable contribution for a Schedule C. So as a Schedule C sole proprietor business, there is no charitable contribution for my business. You will hear people say, oh, if it doesn't sell, donate it and use it as a tax write-off. That's not quite true. Let's go back to the beginning. We take our cash and we trade it for an asset, right? We're just trading cash for something we're going to sell for an inventory item. If we go down the road and we realize some of this inventory sucks, it's never going to sell, I made a bad buy, whatever it is, it's unsellable, and we throw it away or we put it in a Goodwill pile, we have to remove it from our inventory. We remove it, we account for it in our books and in our tax return the same way as if we sold it. If I paid $10 for something, I took $10 of cash, took the cash out of the bank, now I have a $10 inventory item that I paid for, and I throw that inventory item away or I donate it to Goodwill, I take the $10 out of inventory and I make it an expense. I'm not going to call it cost of goods sold because I didn't sell it, but I'll call it obsolete inventory, unsellable inventory. I'm going to give it another name. But at the end of the day, it's accounted for just like you sold it. So that cost that you paid for it is what you get to expense on your tax return. There is no charitable donation in that equation. Do you have to register as a sole proprietor? Is that that's automatic. Your schedule, you are a sole proprietor the minute you go into business. It's automatic. It's not a registration. It's not an election. You just are. The minute you go into business, sole proprietor then for tax purposes equals a Schedule C. Lincho, what do you have to say? That's the same with, 100% Lincho. Exactly. You're right. If something breaks, you're cleaning it, you dropped it, you broke it. Same thing. You're just taking it out of inventory and you're putting it into obsolete or unsellable inventory, and you just move that expense from an asset. And now it becomes an expense to you. But there's no charitable donation. Now, where you can get charitable donation, where it does come in, I forget the person's name that was talking earlier, but the person who's selling off mom or grandma's house, if you're selling your own stuff, you have zero cost in it. Like, look, I got this for free. If you get something for free and it's part of your inventory, and then you decide that you don't want it, you're going to donate it, there's no accounting. It's free. It was zero. There's no accounting. Then you could take that as a personal donation on your Schedule A, and that's charitable. How do you remove it from inventory when it's a bulk buy? You would have to segregate it out. So you would say, okay, if I paid $500 for 500 pieces, that's about $1 a piece. I'm 10 pieces are no good. That's about $10. So you just average, you use averaging. And that using averages is an acceptable way to keep your inventory also. I don't list every single each item. Averages are okay. On a cash basis, there's no write-offs for donated. Correct, Cynthia. Correct. Unless you fall under what I just described where you paid zero for it because there's no dollars attached to it anyways, then you just look at it like a personal item, and you would look at it just like you normally would any other donation that you would do personally. But that's only if it was a free item, like zero, no cost associated. There's no accounting for it whatsoever.
Hey everybody, well, she's taking a break and a breathe. We're running a quick experiment on her. We want to see how good she is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna offer you, and let's see what she does.
What am I doing? Oh, look at that. He's trying to sell something. All right, let's run it. Let's do this. Is this a Nippon? And I'm gonna guess that this is a beautiful Nippon vase with your typical sunset or sunrise. There is a huge debate in the Nippon world that when you see paintings like this, if they're sunrises or sunsets, can you pick that up and tell me if I'm right or wrong? And I would assume that's probably about a 6-inch vase. Porcelain, absolutely gorgeous. I can't read it. Does it say Nippon? It looks like it might. I can't make it out. I can't zoom on my computer neither. Oh well. We're going to run it though. Let's go ahead and do this. $1, $4.50 shipping. If you like a gorgeous vase, I'm guessing it's about 6 inches. If my husband was a good salesman over there, he would be showing you the measurements. But it's up and running if you're interested in that gorgeous vase. I do happen to know there are no chips or cracks on that one. It is beautiful. He's testing my skills. Josie's Junk in the Trunk. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. How is starting inventory from the previous year counted? Will I get taxed on it again? No, you won't. You're not taxed on your inventory whatsoever. Absolutely not. You're never taxed on your inventory. If you have inventory from the prior year, so go look at your tax return, go look at your Schedule C, there should be a number on there that says ending inventory. That ending inventory from December 31st, 2025 is your beginning inventory for January 1st, 2026. So that's what your beginning number is. When we talk inventory, there's 4 things you need to know for inventory. This is what you need to track. So everybody out there reselling, this is how you track your inventory. What did you start with? Okay, so what did you end the year with? Or if you're brand new business, that would be 0. What came in? So what did you buy? What went out? What did you sell? And what is the ending? So it's your beginning plus what you bought minus what you sold equals the ending. That's it. That's all you need to do. You can do that in bulk. You can do that in averages. You can do it item by item. Account for it within that formula any way that makes sense for your business, as long as you know those numbers. After he handled, yes, Crystal, that's funny. Actually, he's pretty good. I got to give him credit. I have no idea what he pulled for the show. I'm like, if we're going to sell stuff, you need to go pull stuff off shelves because I'm not there to pull it for you. So, all right, I'll keep answering tax questions if you want. If there's any questions, feel free to throw them in there. Happy to answer them. I have a question for you guys though, because I did have a topic I was going to try to touch on. I thought this was we started to talk about it Monday, but yours is like a bull in a china shop. He's good, except when I take him to antique stores and he breaks stuff in antique stores. True story. I thought I paid more taxes last year because my cost of goods was higher because I had too much inventory at the end of the year. Nope. You can have as much inventory as you want. Did you want to say something, my love? Okay. You can have as much inventory as you want at the end of the year. The IRS doesn't care. They don't care how much you have sitting on your shelves.
That's right, Mama. I get free t-shirts.
Yeah, he gets away with it. He breaks stuff and gets away with it. So the IRS, what they're looking at, what your taxes are calculated on is your net profit. Net profit is what the IRS looks at. Very quick calculation. Revenue, the money that comes in, minus your cost of goods sold. That's the cost of your inventory that you sold. Then you minus all those other expenses we talk about. Cell phones, home office, mileage, shipping supplies, printer ink, all your equipment, all that stuff you take out. You get to your net profit at the end of the day. That bottom line net profit. That's the number the IRS cares about. If you pull money out of your business and go spend it on something that's not business, you pull it out for personal use, they don't care that you pulled money out for personal use. They want to know your business expenses and what your net profit is. That's what they want. How about using a sole proprietor LLC and whatnot? But ours is under a different name than our whatnot name. Okay, so a sole proprietor LLC that's a single member LLC. So the technical term is a single member LLC. You're still filing a Schedule C. The tax return is exactly the same. So, but your name and whatnot is different name other than our whatnot name. You could still put it on your Schedule C. So if I would ask you on whatnot, what is the Social Security or EIN number that it's tied to? Is it tied to you personally? Is it your Social Security number in there, or is it an EIN for that LLC? What number does whatnot have? Because that's who the entity that whatnot has registered. It's either your name with your Social Security number or an LLC with an EIN number is who's going to get the tax form sent to them. So there's a way around that where you can say, claim it on one. That gets a little complicated, but there's a way to move that money around. Oh, so if it's in your Social Security number, no, it's a Schedule C anyways. That doesn't matter whatsoever. then that would not even be a consideration for me. Or simply have a DB. You could have a DBA for you, but it's like but why? If you're a sole proprietor, like that's a whole lot of extra work for why? Like I can run Zoe's Treasures. I don't need a DBA for Zoe's Treasures. I run Zoe's Treasures on here. I don't need it. A DBA is a doing business as. It's something you register usually with your state that you just say, hey, I'm doing business as this name. So instead of my name, Tracy, I'm doing business as Zoe's Treasures. It's not required for online stuff. Like you don't need to do it. Now, if you don't want your name out there, you just want to do everything under that DBA, where this does come in and where some of the prior comments were kind of mentioning it is if you have an LLC, and maybe my LLC is called Bob and Jane's LLC, but I want my business name to be the best t-shirts in town. So I may do a DBA. I'm going to do business as the best t-shirts in town under Bob and Sue's LLC. I've been a bookkeeper in the past, have always done my own taxes. Yeah, okay. Even when we had a farm. Your thoughts about yeah, you know what? I firmly believe that most people are very capable of doing their own tax returns with the tools that are out there, such as TurboTax, whatever other software is available. There's tons of them out there. I personally like Free Tax USA. That's my favorite because you file for free with no income limits. The only thing that they charge you for is state returns. So that's absolutely my favorite because, hey, I'm cheap. And it works really good. I believe most people can do their own taxes. Understand, you just got to gain an understanding. It's educating yourself on what is deductible, what's not, using the help menus that come in those tax systems. Click on the little I's, read the information, and then have somebody you can consult with. Have somebody that you can go to and ask, a CPA or somebody who has that knowledge. The other thing you can do, and I highly recommend, particularly for first, maybe even second year business, is go and have a CPA or even H&R Block. Hear me out on this. Do your first year business return. Why? First of all, you get a return that you can kind of model your returns on after that. And you get, while you're paying for the price of that return, pepper them with questions. Ask them, why is that number there? What does this mean? A good person will answer all of those questions for you. So you can get a lot of education in year one. There's also a lot of decisions that you make in year one that affect future years. So it's really good to have that expertise then. So if I open a separate banking account, I do not need to set it up as a DBA. No, I can just open up my name you can just open it up under your name. My business account is under my name, my personal name. It's not under a business name. It doesn't have to be, but I just make sure that I use that account only for my business stuff. What's important there is just separating out the funds. As a sole proprietor, just make sure the funds are separated. So if you have a separate checking account that maybe you've just had for a while and you never use, turn it into your business account. You don't have to have it. Now, if you go to a bank and you tell the bank, hey, I'm Zoe's Treasures, I want to open up a Zoe's Treasures bank account. The banks get a little picky because they have regulations and rules they have to follow. Then they may say, sure, I'll help you open up a business account. I'm going to need your EIN. Then we might need to get a separate number for that because you want to open a business account. Or they're going to say, have you registered with the state? Have you done this other type of stuff, depending on your locality and your state laws? So you don't have to do that. If you're just a sole proprietor, just open up another checking account in your own name. I paid a CPA for the first time 3 years. For the first 3 years, well, I learned the process. I love that. Phil's Fines, that's right there is what I would recommend. Maybe not 3 years, but as much as you feel comfortable with, right? Highly, highly recommend it for the first year. It will be money well spent. Is it expensive? They are. Look, CPAs aren't cheap. They're expensive. They're worth it though. They go to school for many years. Most CPAs have to have a master's degree, most of them, or at least an equivalent education, and you sit for 4 exams. So you're paying for that experience and that education. I did mention H&R Block. You will hear other people say, oh, don't go to those places. I see, thank you. They'll say, don't go to those places. I worked at H&R Block as a CPA. I did it on the side many, many, many years ago. There is a whole business section run in H&R Block that employs CPAs. Just because it's H&R Block and you think you go there for your personal tax return and you just, it's like a little flippant thing. No, they do have a business section with some highly educated people there. So I wouldn't dismiss them as a possibility when you're researching CPAs. So I'm in the state of Kentucky. Do I need to have a business license for what not selling? How do I find one? Is there a way to what? That's a whole lot. Yes, there's a way to watch us back. We're on YouTube. So Zoe's Treasures on YouTube, same name. The majority of our shows are recorded there. I do not know the laws of Kentucky. So what I would suggest is go to the, it's usually like your state website. If you just Google business license Kentucky, it'll bring up a state website. You should be able to find it pretty simply. Department of Professional Regulation, things like that will bring up in a Google search, and read the rules. And that will tell you if you need a business license for your state and or your locality. Make sure that if you live in a state that has localities, if that sounds foreign to you, you probably don't live in a state with localities. If you're like, oh yeah, I pay locality taxes or I have special rules, it's either going to make sense or it's not, depending on where you live. If you live in a place with a locality, don't just check your state. Make sure you're checking that locality also. Yes, you can. Graham's House, that you absolutely can. That is it's under professional fees. So on your Schedule C, there is a line that says professional fees. Your CPA, your attorney, as long as any of those are used for business purposes, are deductible on your tax return. Here's the other thing, you guys. Don't wait till April or January or February. Don't wait till then to get a CPA. We're halfway through the year. We're you know, a little over halfway through the year right now. Now's the time you want to get in with your CPA. Because if there's something you can change or do to affect your taxable income or to affect that tax result, now's the time to do it. We meet with our CPAs now for tax planning. If you wait until April, you're just reacting. You're reacting to what happened last year. You can't change it at that point. If you meet with the CPA now and you bring them everything you've done for the first 6-7 months of the year, they can say, okay, we have 7 months of information. Let's project out. This is what we think a year is going to look like. I would suggest doing this, this, or this to help reduce your tax liability and what you owe at the end of the year. Taxes aren't about just filing a form once a year. It is something you plan for throughout the course of the year. Any advice for someone selling while on Social Security disability? Tips for staying within the income guidelines. So that's really interesting. I got a question like that. It wasn't from you. I got a question like that in my DM the other day. Social Security disability, there's two different, there's just SSI and SSDI. So Social Security income and Social Security disability income. Both of them have guidelines on how much money you're allowed to make before it starts reducing your Social Security. I'm not an expert on that. I don't know what those guidelines are. That is something you would need to go to somebody who specializes in that to find out, or call Social Security office. But I do know that each one of those are calculated differently. But both of them do allow a certain amount of money. If you know how much that dollar limit is, you control how much money you make. If you know that you can make, thank you, $1,000 a month, you control that. Do 1 or 2 shows. Don't sell over that. So that would be my tip, is understand what that limit is. And if you don't want to exceed that limit, then you schedule your selling and what you're selling to make sure that you fall under that limit. It's no different than if I have a goal to make X number of dollars, I'm going to increase my shows or increase what I sell to reach a higher goal. Your goal is just to stay under a certain amount. So you approach it the same way. Can you pay quarterly to avoid large tax liability all at once? Graham's House, absolutely. That's estimated taxes. And there are times when you are actually required to pay quarterly. It's not just all this voluntary, oh, I want to do it to avoid a fee or avoid a large tax at the end of the year. So we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. If you owe estimated taxes, IRS is a pay-as-you-go. If you think that your tax liability, the amount that you owe, is going to be $1,000 or more than it was last year, you should be paying in quarterly. If you do not pay in quarterly, if you reach that limit that you're going to have a larger tax liability and you don't pay in quarterly and you wait until the end of the year, the IRS will gladly take your money along with late fees and penalties because you didn't pay them on the pay-as-you-go system that they require. Buying inventory does not count, only when you sell it, only when you sell that inventory, unless you're using the cash method. I have an EIN that I got years ago. EINs, they do not expire. They don't. You're correct. I gave Whatnot my social security number with my real name. I am using ORT as my Whatnot seller name. Who will my money be released to when I get my bank account? If you gave Whatnot your social security number, first of all, that's two questions in one. If you gave Whatnot your social security number, if you meet the threshold for a 1099, Whatnot will issue that 1099 to your personal name and your social security number. And then as far as your bank account, that's just whatever bank account you link to it. You totally control where you want the money to go to. So two separate things. One is what does Whatnot report to the IRS on your behalf? That's linked to whatever that social security number is you entered. And then the money, when you pull money out, whatever bank account you put on there, and you can change that. You can start with one bank account and say, nope, I've created my business bank account over here, my separate account, I want to change it. So you totally can control where your money goes from Whatnot. But even if you have an EIN, and Whatnot gives you a 1099 in your social security number, that EIN is linked to your Schedule C if you're a sole proprietor. You're still going to just report that money on that Schedule C. It will all match up at the end of the day. Because that EIN then is attached to a personal return that's attached to your social security number. So it all just flows through to your social security number at the end of the day. It's different if you're filing a separate LLC tax form. That's a 1065, not your personal. Then we start talking about now we actually need to start doing some transfers. But most people aren't there. So I don't have to set up my bank account no, you don't have to. You're not required to. The Forgotten Memories, thank you for asking. The conference is going very, very well. The food sucks as usual. Those of you who don't know, I am at a work conference. I travel about once a month for about a week. This month is 2 weeks. And we do conferences. I run a lot of conferences. So this time I'm not in charge though. I'm just support staff this week. So that's wonderful. But it's always buffet food. That's always the same, like powdered eggs every morning. Not that great. Can you change the business name attached to an EIN? No, you have to dissolve that EIN. So there should be a form that you file with the IRS saying that business is out of business. So it's usually on your Schedule C or your LLC return that you say it's the last year in business, and then you need to create a new one.
So I'm running an experiment on her, and I want to see how she does. So let's run another one. Let's see what
You're going to run another one to see if I can do this again?
Yep.
All right. And then I have a question for you guys. Oh, this one's really pretty. This is a sweet little swan. He's trying to jog my memory, see if I remember what I buy in my multitude of shopping trips. That is a sweet little swan. You can put a tea light in there, but you can also, honey, you got to get up and show it. I can't, you got to like tip and turn it and be on the white over there.
Well, then you have to run it.
I'll run it. You turn it. I got to teach this man what to do. It is open at the top, so you can put a tea light in there. It is a ceramic. If I said porcelain, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Ceramic swan. What's on the bottom? Is that a price tag UPC? Is it new? Is it old? What is it? It is from somewhere. I can't read it. Ceramic swan, cute little tea light, ring holder, little like trinket dish type thing. We're going to run it right now. It's up and going for $1, $4.50 shipping. Can I see the bottom there? This is a piece we got. We picked this one up. So y'all, I have a source. We call this source the International Man of Mystery. Shalom, y'all. Thank you so much. That one's going to you. We call one of our sources the International Man of Mystery. And that is one that we picked up from him. And I love the whole thought. So I am totally stealing this idea. Full disclosure, I'm stealing this from Green 13, and Donatella also does this. They give fun names to their sources. I have two main sources, one main, I don't say main, two sources that I've been buying from. I also purchase a lot of auction and other things, but I have the International Man of Mystery and the Professor. Both of them bring me really nice items, but very different styles. So.
Graham's house. I only have two arms, and I am either running the show with all this here, or I have to run and put everything on the stage and run everything from there.
Uh,
Because look, she's
excuses,
she's
excuses,
she's not with us today.
excuses.
Look, you see, she's
If
not with
you,
us
I'm not
today.
there. If you want it bad enough, you make it happen. Quit with the excuses. Yeah, forgotten memories. That's right. Solo selling isn't easy. Um, I do have a question for you. So my question for you, I had something I kind of wanted to touch on today. Um, hold on, he's snapping at me, y'all. What does this mean? Hold, hold on. Thank you, Oliver Trading. That is very sweet. I missed your comment. Thank you very much. Um, he's the hardest working. He could be. Okay. What is the most valuable asset in your business? And this is kind of a follow up from what I was talking about Monday. But for you, what is the most valuable asset you have in your business? I love it. Me, your brand, my time, my health, motivation, my time. You guys are pretty much hitting, you got it, just not the same word I was thinking out, but you guys are hitting the nail on the head with that. It is your reputation, computer and phone. I'm going for reputation here. Your reputation is the most valuable thing we have that you have in your business. Um, I talk about four cornerstones. Enjoyment, yes. I talk about four cornerstones of business: consistency, commitment, discipline, and integrity. And to me, the reputation falls under integrity. I started to talk about this on Monday, but we kind of didn't get all the way through here. So I recycled my notes to use today. So I wanted to touch on it a bit, and not in a way that's like, let's judge others, because this isn't a looking at other people thing. This is a pointing the finger back at you thing. And I think it's really important. It's something that I don't hear talked about a lot on Whatnot. We hear do your shipping right, which is integrity, right? Doing your shipping right. So we hear do that, follow terms of service, and all those things are integrity. But I don't think we ever really talk about your reputation or your integrity here. And it's really, really important. 99% of all my reviews is how well I package. I love that. And I take great, absolutely, extra money to make sure they get everything safe. And that's integrity right there. That is part of integrity. I mean, that's a piece of it. It's really big and encompasses a lot of stuff, right? In the Marine Corps, we had 13 traits of leadership. Oh, I would love to see those. I could probably Google that. Hold on. I don't think I've ever read that, but I would love to see what those are. 13 traits of leadership. I'm going to Google that. Your method has four of them. Really? My four is four of your 13 traits. Okay, that's like something that I think I would like enjoy researching a bit. To me, those are the four cornerstones. So of what business is, right? That kind of holds that picture in all four corners, and everything else comes in the middle of all of that. So there's a famous poem out there, and I'm going to read it to you really quick, but not just after I read it, I want to break it down on how it applies to us on Whatnot, because it's cool. We read these inspirational things and we hear it and we're like, oh, that's warm and fuzzy. I love it. But how does it really apply? Like, let's take it to the next step. So I want to read this to you. It's not super long, but I ask that you bear with me for a second to hear it. It's well worth it. You may recognize this as a Mother Teresa poem. It is actually not Mother Teresa. It was written by Kent Keith in the 60s. And then Mother Teresa saw the poem, changed it a bit, and put it in a picture that was in one of her children's homes. And that's where it became famous. But it actually wasn't hers. It was actually by a gentleman. His name is Kent Keith, if you want to Google it. And it is called Anyway, the Paradoxical Commandment. Commandments. That's what it is. So let me read this to you, and then we're going to break it down. So here it is, okay? And while I'm reading, think about your business and Whatnot. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyways. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyways. If you are successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyways. The good you do today will be forgotten by tomorrow. Do good anyways. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable, be honest and frank anyway. The biggest men and women with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest men and women with the smallest ideas. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs, but follow only top dogs. Fight for a few underdogs anyway. What you spend years building can be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. People really need help, but many attack you if you help them. Help people anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you'll get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. So that's the poem. And the story behind that for me, thank you, Forgotten Memories. Honey, can you screenshot that for me so I don't have to Google it? Mother Teresa stole a poem. I know. I don't think she stole it. She had it hanging on her wall, but the version that's attributed to her mentions God at the end. It has a few changes in words, but all of those points are the same. They're just the words are maybe a tad bit different. So I read you the original one, and Enthusiasm. I love that. And I personally, I'm not going to go deep into this, been going through some stuff, and my husband's like, read this. He's like, remember this. And I've heard it before, and then he read it, and I'm like, you know what? That's integrity. That's what we need to talk about when we talk about integrity. So I started thinking about how does that break down to what we do? And I'm not going to go through every single line, but I picked out a few key ones, and I'm like, hey, this is how this really relates to us as whatnot sellers, and what does it look like in our day-to-day whatnot life? Because we hear this stuff, but we don't think about it in practical application. We're like, okay, just be a good person, do good anyway, right? Love people anyway. But what does it really, really look like in your day-to-day shipping and selling and listing stuff and all of that, right? So the first line, people will be unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyways. What does that mean for us? There's going to be difficult buyers. There's going to be unfair reviews. There's going to be people asking for discounts when you've already set your prices. And there's going to be people who don't read those damn descriptions that you put in and then ask for a refund afterwards, right? They're going to be unreasonable. They're going to be illogical. Some of these people are going to be self-centered. We still don't change what we do as sellers for those people, right? They don't read the description. They ask for a refund. We still, okay, let's talk about this. We still come back in the right way. You love me anyways. Thank you. I love discounts. My chat got stuck and I just saw the arrow and I just now read your comment. Desert, she doesn't have kids. Mother Teresa didn't have kids, but she ran children's homes, like for homeless kids. So it was in one of the kids' homes. Okay. So don't let somebody else's bad behavior be an excuse for your bad behavior. Rise to the top. We always hear be the bigger person. Rise to the top. Their bad behavior, now this is something I've told my kids growing up, but their bad behavior isn't an excuse for your bad behavior. Their meanness isn't an excuse for your meanness. And it's hard to do because, man, I could be a salty you-know-what when I want to be, and I'll be snapping right back at you. But in our businesses, we can't be that way, right? We need to rise to the top. I hate it, but I have a good day, Cynthia Zadig. Thank you for being here today. So integrity means that your standards don't change just because somebody else's does. Okay. Someone else is being a jerk. Someone else is being a butthead. My integrity isn't based on the way you act. My integrity is based on me and my beliefs and what I'm going to stand for any day, just as all of yours is. So that was the first one. The next line that I kind of wanted to dig into a bit is, if you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyways. How many times have you felt attacked for your success on Whatnot, either through other people on Whatnot or personally in your life? The more successful you become, and success is subjective, success is whatever you define it to be. Do you feel that these outside things are coming at you, right? Stay true to yourself, be integral. I got a cancellation request because a buyer felt my items were underpriced and wanted, wow. They should have just paid you more, but that is so sweet. That is really good. That's really good. You salty? Yeah, I could be salty. Not something that I'm proud of myself, but it's there. I think it's within all of us. And ask my husband. Things will piss me off, and I'll be like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." And then you do your business, and you got to wipe that out for your business, right? Um, so you declined her request. That is so good for you, Shalom. That is no different. We're going to talk about, I'm going to get there. We're going to get there in a second, because you are like, you're a step ahead of me on a point I have. But so if people are unkind to you, be kind back to them. Some people aren't going to understand why you help competitors. We've talked about that whole competition or community over competition thing. I'm not a fan of that. We are competitors, but does it mean we need to be mean to each other? I've made the point very clearly. Every single other person in this room selling vintage decor is my direct competition. Does that mean that I have to be mean to you or not like you? Southern Charm sells vintage decor. She's one of my best friends on this app. You can still love people. You can still be kind to people, even if you're the competitors. We don't have to degrade and talk bad about each other. We don't have to put down their items. We don't have to lift our items up to make theirs look smaller. None of this is necessary on here. We can answer people's questions for free and kindly, even if they're selling the same items as you're selling, right? We can share knowledge with each other. Even though we're competitors, we can share knowledge. People may start to think that you're just trying to get followers. And when you're nice to your competitors, when you're nice to everybody, people will think, oh, you're just trying to get followers, or you're pretending to be nice, or you're networking for profit, right? Let me see what I'm missing. Forgot Memory says, we had a buyer's package that got destroyed by USPS. She sent us the pictures. We issued a full refund and filed a claim. Look at that. How sweet is that? Yeah, that's just it. You didn't argue with her. You said, I am so sorry, and you did the right thing. And that's what all this comes down to, right? And a lot of us think it's really easy just to, we're just going to do the right thing. But let's look at all these little things in our whatnot lives, all these tiny little choices that we have to make. Doing the right thing isn't just this, I do what's right. It is a million tiny little choices day after day after day. And some of those choices are super difficult to make because they cost us money, or they hurt our feelings, or they mean that we have to own up to not being right. I asked for a cancellation yesterday, but it was because I got it for $1 and no one else bid due to glitching. She appreciated it. See, doing the right thing is never going to come back and bite you in the butt. Ultimately, I'm a firm believer in karma exists. And as much as it may cost me money, may make me feel bad, whatever, because I don't like to admit I'm wrong or anything like that, ultimately it's going to come back and be good for you by doing the right thing. Just as a suggestion, look up the poem Let Them by Casey Phillips, directly relates to what you're talking about. There you go. There's another suggestion, you guys. I'm going to write that down too. Let Them, Cassie Phillips. Thank you for that suggestion. Okay, so when you're nice to your competitors, when you come on here and you answer questions, when somebody in your chat asks you for the 50th time during a show, how does your shipping work? And you look and you say, so thank you so much for that question. This is how my shipping works. That's being nice to them, right? When you go into a competitor's room, when you go into somebody else's room and you tell them how beautiful their items are, when you help them describe the items to the chat, when you help them sell it, because believe it or not, when you go into another person's room who sells the same thing as you sell and you start saying, oh, wow, that's a gorgeous vase, you're helping them sell it. You're helping build this beautiful picture to other buyers in that room. That's being nice to your competitors. Good morning, Livy. So it's not about getting followers. It's not about trying to make more profit or pretending to be nice. It's about doing the right thing. It's about being kind anyways. Share your knowledge, encourage each other. This is your reputation. That's all comes into the integrity. The next one I wanted to talk about is if you're successful, good morning, Gigi. If you're successful, you will find, hold on, let me read this slowly. If you're successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyways. Success changes relationships. It does. We've seen, and I'm sure all of you can picture in your head, people that you have watched on Whatnot, as they become successful, whatever that means to you, they go one of two directions. They get very egotistical and big, and you're like, wow, what happened to you? Or they stay the same. True, kind, good-hearted people. That's pretty much two ways to go with it. And you get to pick which road that you travel down as you become successful. But either road you pick, people are going to resent you for it. People are not going to like your success. They're going to become your enemy just because you're making sales and you're succeeding. If you're just coming in, this is a poem by Keith Kent, or Kent Keith. Did I say that? Kent Keith. It's called Anyway, the Paradoxical Commandments. Mother Teresa made it famous, but I'm kind of breaking it down a bit here. So if you're just coming in, that's what we're talking about. You've seen changes for the worse. Old River Trading, I do that all the time because that's just the way I am. Exactly, and transparent, and it's who you are. And this is who we should be. Unfortunately, it's not as common as we tend to think it is. It's just not. How many of you have ever felt and I'm not sure how to describe this feeling, that you're busting your butt to do the right thing. You're giving refunds when you should be refunding. You're not arguing with customers. You're answering questions. You're doing all the things, and you're getting hate. You're getting discouraged. You're getting people saying mean things. This happens. This happens a lot. I've got one yes there. I know it happens more often than just one yes. Do it anyways. And that's what the point is your success is going to be viewed differently by people around you. And you're going to make enemies just for the pure fact that you had a good show, or that you're succeeding, or you have more people in your room than they do, or you have more followers than they do. Whatever stupid thing that they want to grab onto, people will grab onto things and hate you just for that. Be successful anyways. Their success, your success isn't dependent on them. Do not shrink your success to make other people comfortable. Okay? Don't be less than who you are just to put somebody else at ease. Smile and wave, absolutely. I love you. I'm going to be successful anyways. I do not care how that makes you feel, how my success makes you uncomfortable. Okay? I'm going to do what's right anyways. What you will find as you grow on this app, as you succeed on this app, the gossip is going to increase. This app is like high school. It's cliquey and it's hurtful. And we're people, and trust me, I've been in the middle of this on the bad side, on the side of it where it hurts. It hurts to be in a room and know somebody's talking about you, even if they don't mention your name. It hurts. Be successful anyways, okay? Don't shrink who you are. The Let Them Theory, thank you. So we had the Let Them too. We had Cassie, somebody here, I just wrote it down on the prior page, Mel Robbins. These are all similar concepts. They're probably all kind of all the same thing. All these people we're talking about, they probably get to the core of the same thing. You're going to find that as you succeed, criticism against you is going to increase. If you are upholding your integrity, if you are centered in your commitment, your consistency, your discipline, and your integrity, it doesn't matter. Their criticism, their gossip doesn't matter. If those four things are centered with you in you, and you know where you are coming from. People begin watching your every move. The more successful you get, the more scrutinized you will be. So what? Be successful anyways. Let them scrutinize it, because again, if you come from a point of integrity, it doesn't matter what they're watching. It doesn't matter how hard they look for you to fail, because it just doesn't, because you're coming from the right spot. When they receive a refund, does it show up on our ledger? I haven't received a, if you treat anyone poorly, then you're not, exactly, mamas, that is it. Yes, it does. So hold on. My husband's telling me I missed a comment. People think I'm fake at first. Josie says, and I find myself dimming my light. Do not dim your light because of it. Do not dim your light because of it. Yep. I don't think you're successful if you treat your customers with poor ethics. It shows through. Your integrity shows through 100%. Been feeling that deeply. Even took 2 weeks off to gather myself and reset. And the bird theory, I'm with you. There, very recently, I had a day where somebody else's comments made me question my whole business. And you know what? By the end of the day, I'm like, screw you. Okay, maybe that's not the nicest thing. I didn't say it in public. It was my personal thought was, screw you. I'm going to be successful anyways. You're not going to change where I'm coming from, because I know where I'm centered and I know what I'm doing is right. When they receive a refund, let me answer Callie's question here real quick. Yes, It will come from your ledger, depending on if you do your own customer service or not. If Whatnot's doing your customer service, more than likely they will cover it. Come September, though, we will all be doing our own customer service, and then it's going to come from your ledger. To Wanda, where do they live? Thank you, Josie. That we're not going there. We're taking the high road. We're going to be successful anyways. Hold on, my husband's saying, do you block hate watchers in your shows? I do not. Nope. I've only blocked 3 people in 3 years. To be blocked from one of my shows, you have to be really, really, really bad. Like if you come in here, like there's clear-cut block reasons. You are extremely disrespectful, hateful, saying negative, racist, anything like that, you're getting blocked. Any of those comments, you're blocked. But because you don't like me, because you talk bad about me in your show and you want to come and lurk in mine, I'm not going to block you. Come on over. Because you know what? I'm going to be successful anyways. I don't care what you say. I don't care about your gossip or your criticism. I'm going to be successful anyway. So if you can't convert. Now, if you start to harass, if you cross the line to clear cut, this is harassing behavior, you're affecting other people in my room, or you're being intentionally hurtful in my room, I will block you for that. There is limits to everything. Okay, Mama, I'll come and you can talk about me. So we said people's going to watch your every move, and people are going to hope you fail. There are people on this app who are out there hoping you fail. Prove them wrong. Use that as motivation to prove them wrong. Be successful. One last time, do not shrink your success, or like Josie said, dim your light to make somebody else comfortable. Okay, my husband's yelling at me at times, so I'm going to wrap this up. I got a couple more points, honey, and then we'll wrap this up. What you spend, this is the other one, what you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyways. Algorithm changes. Bad reviews happen. Shipments get lost. You might get suspended for something. Inventory gets damaged. None of that changes who you are. Continue to build your business, okay? Those things tear us apart as people. Continue to build your business. This is, character survives setbacks. This is my final thought on this, and this was the most important one to me, is every dishonest seller, everybody out there who is dishonest, creates an opportunity for an honest seller to shine. So every time somebody else is dishonest is an opportunity for you to shine even brighter. Okay. So remember that. Don't get discouraged by the dishonesty, the mistreatment, just shine brighter than they shine. As humans, we must serve our own lives and be that 100%. Old River, I love that. Integrity, I said this at the beginning, is a series of small choices every day. All these little choices. Some of these choices, I'm going to give you, these are just a handful. My husband's over there going like this. We're going to wrap up in a second. This is a handful of an example of these small choices that we face as Whatnot sellers here. Shine bright like a diamond. Yep. Shipping, following terms of service, disclosing flaws. These are all choices we make. Honor, I see it. Thank you. Honoring a sale when it ends lower than expected. That's a choice. Here's the big one. Treating competitors and others with respect. Even when you disagree with their business practices, we still treat each other with respect. Everybody knows I love free shipping, dollar starts, reduced shipping. I'm still going to respect you for your choices if you want to do $80 starts, and as we all should with each other. Okay, treating each other with respect, giving credit when when you use somebody else's idea for an inspiration. We imitate, we copy, we steal ideas. Give them credit. That's part of integrity. That's part of our decisions that we make. And keeping your word, even when it's inconvenient to keep your word. That's kind of my final thoughts there. We do have to go. My husband has an appointment, so I do have to wrap up. Let me just read a couple of these last questions. Forgotten Memory says, I got a pop-up from Whatnot about a new program. It's called Sell More, Earn More. Have you, Forgotten Memories. I Love Discounts, I think, sent me a screenshot of that yesterday. I have not seen it yet. I'm going to go read about it. Maybe we could talk about that on Friday. So let me see what I can find out about it and bring it to you guys on Friday if I can get any information. It is Southern Charm. I'm still waiting on points, you guys. Points still haven't shown up on my phone yet. I still have a coming soon. So if you guys have information you want to send to me, please do so. But let's talk about that on Friday because it does look pretty cool. So Oh, hold on. Livy says, what did Livy say? I'm missing. What about $400 starts? I respect Livy. I respect you if you want to do $400 starts. One final point. My husband's glaring at me. Respect. I can have my opinion on what I think is good to do. I can share with you my experience. I can share with you pros and cons of low starts, of dollar starts, of reduced shipping. At the end of the day, we're all businesses and we make our own decisions. I don't have to agree. You can do $400 starts. Do I agree that that's a good way to do it? Probably not. But I can still be respectful to you. I can still be kind to you. I can not talk bad about you. I can say, here's why I think this is good, and here's why I think this is bad, and here's what I'm going to do. That doesn't change how I'm going to treat you. And that's how we all need to look at each other. And I think that's highly lacking on this app. And as a person who's been on the other side of it and has been felt those hurtful comments, they sting, y'all. They sting. And it's up to us to make sure that we're rising above that and that we're not participating in that as a community to make this a place that's welcoming and fun to be in and a business environment that we want to operate in on a day-to-day basis. That's what it boils down to. You know, we may not have 9 to 5s. We're not going to 9 to 5, but we're coming here on a daily basis. Let's make this an enjoyable place to spend time with each other while we're doing our jobs, right? Okay, with that, you guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. We do have to go. Noel has an appointment he has to get to today. I will be back on Friday morning. We are talking about how to make more profit without increasing your hours. So look forward to seeing you all then. Have a great rest of your week. Are you going to do our raid, my love? Or you want me to? All right, he's got it. Bye, everybody.